I'm going to say something very controversial in this video, and that is the new cavalry commanders are good for the game. And the reason why is because they are not good. If you guys are new here, this is Gainz Gaming. We make Rise of Kingdoms content, and today we are talking about the two new commanders in Rise of Kingdoms, Belisarius Prime and Eleanor of Aquitaine. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but we'll just call her Eleanor. Now, these two new commanders are very underwhelming, in my honest opinion, and I think that is a good thing for the game. And the reason why is because cavalry are way too overpowered in Rise of Kingdoms, and I think that is something we've seen over a long period of time of literally like the best commanders in the game coming out being cavalry. And it's been like that for a long time. Ever since Nevsky came out, he literally broke the game almost 2 years ago now. And so now for almost 2 years, cavalry have been so insane in the open field that they have, like, every single time a new cav commander has come out, it's broken the meta. Every single time it has been the new meta to invest into the new cavalry commanders. And now we are getting cav commanders that are extremely underwhelming and people don't want to invest into them. And I think that is a good thing. But I still want to dive into these two commanders and talk about their skill kits and whether or not like they could be somewhat usable for anybody, or if they are literally a skip for every single person in the game. We are going to start with Eleanor. She is the MGE garrison commander that was just released very recently here, and she has a very, very underwhelming skill kit in my opinion. I think she could be good for passes, but even then, I don't think I would prefer using her. I would prefer many other options that we have available to us. But let's talk about her skills first. First of all, her first skill deals direct damage to a target troop of 2300 damage factor. Now that is pretty high. That is a high damage factor. And also for the next 3 seconds, the commander's troop takes 10% less skill damage. Great skill. I like that skill. If it was AoE, it'd be better, but 2300 damage factor is pretty solid. Now her second skill, this commander's cav units gain 20% attack, and if this commander is serving as a garrison commander, their garrison takes 15% less counterattack damage. Now that is also very good for a garrison commander. You know, you want to take less counterattack damage. However, I would probably prefer doing more counterattack damage than taking less counterattack damage in order to, you know, make people not want to swarm you, because that way they're taking more damage rather than just not dealing as much damage. Because, like, sure, you are dealing less counterattack damage, but you're still dealing skill damage, which is really the main reason why you're swarming, right? So if you are doing more counterattack damage to your enemy, that would probably be a better skill here than taking less counterattack damage. Now her third skill, this commander's cav units gain 15% defense. If this commander is serving as a garrison commander, whenever their garrison is hit with a basic attack, it has a 10% chance to use her first skill, Lily of the Wild skill, with a 10-second cooldown. Now, I also think this is good. It means that she basically has an instant proc that she can, you know, trigger this every 10 seconds. I think if this was a lower cooldown, she'd be much better. Like, say 5 to 7 seconds, I think would be, you know, more usable. But, you know, 10 seconds, that's not a huge amount of utility with this skill. But, you know, 10% chance, you have some chance of it happening, but with a 10-second cooldown, that kind of sucks. Now, her fourth skill, this commander troops gain 10% more damage. That's pretty nice. This commander is serving as a garrison for 3 seconds after the troop uses an active skill. Up to 5 nearby allied or friendly troops, including this commander's troop, gain a 5% bonus to damage dealt. For every allied or friendly troop nearby, excluding this commander's troop gains an additional 1% bonus of damage up to 5%. Now, this one is very interesting to me because obviously she, from her skill kit, is an anti-swarm garrison, where you do not want to be swarming her because she's going to take less damage, she's going to be doing more damage, etc. Now, this skill is confusing because, like, you are, you know, buffing troops nearby, but it's an anti-swarm garrison, meaning you're probably going to use it when you don't have the field. So you're not going to get any of that utility from this entire skill besides the 10% more damage. Because, you know, obviously she's an anti-swarm commander. That's why I say, you know, being at a pass is probably the only utility she's going to have, because you're obviously going to have troops by the pass. So those troops are going to, you know, help you deal an additional 5% more damage, but buffing those troops are going to do basically nothing because they're not going to be doing anything unless they're swarming a counter rally. But, you know, if they're swarming, like, say, a Tariq Bakal or, you know, Attila Lu or whatever that might be, you know, for a tanking rally, you are going to be doing basically nothing because, yes, you're getting buffed by the pass, but you're also buffing the enemy rally. So, it kind of defeats the purpose in my opinion. Now her expertise, this commander's troop takes 5% less damage and deals 10% more skill damage to its current target. But this is a good skill. 5% less damage and 10% more skill damage is a good skill. But is she usable? I mean, not really. Like, yeah, she could be somewhat usable in a pass, but I don't think that she's going to be a commander that anyone is going to be rushing to expertise anytime soon. Obviously, like I said, I think that's a good thing because that means that people can then invest those sculptures into other commanders that they've been saving for, or being like, well, I can't invest in this commander right now because we have new cabs coming out that might be really, really good, because every other cab that's come out recently has been absolutely meta. And so they feel like they had to wait for the new cabs, myself included. I was like, I can't invest in a Herman yet because I need to see what the new cabs look like. And so I went this entire KVK where I could have invested in a Herman and probably done even better. And now I wish I would have invested in him because the new calves are not good. And speaking of new calves, let's talk about the next new cavalry commander, Belisarius Prime. Now, I think one of the biggest things to talk about with Belisarius is his skill trees: cavalry, versatility, and mobility. Now, this absolutely sucks. Now, I'll show you what this actually looks like in game. So if we take a look at Lancelot here, we can see he's going to have the mobility tree. He's going to have the full cavalry tree. So obviously you are going to go full caps with Belisarius Prime. Now, the other option you have here is obviously the mobility tree. Sure, you can, take less skill damage, but pretty much everything else is march speed related. And, obviously you don't really care as much about insane march speed with an open field commander unless you're using it to kill farmers, which is basically what Belisarius Prime is going to be used for, is farm killing. That's virtually what he is going to be good at, which is, it kind of sucks because obviously you're not going to invest into a Prime commander to kill barbarians. That's just dumb. But let's dive into his skills. Now, his first skill deals direct damage to a target troop of 2400 damage factor. Very high damage. Now, for the next 2 seconds, the target loses 50 rage per second. If the target is surrounded, it is inflicted with the deception effect for 5 seconds, and its active skills require 200 more rage to use. Now, his active skill is very, very good. Now, obviously, I wish it was AoE, and his skill actually looks like it should be AoE. I actually posted a short of what his active skill is going to look like if you have not seen that yet, but 2400 damage factor is very high. However, we already have very high damage factor for a single troop type with Cavalry, with Hukabing, and with Nevsky. So this feels redundant, especially when most people were hoping that this new Cav commander was going to replace William as an AoE commander that you can use as a secondary to Hukabing, Nevsky, or Joan Prime. Now, obviously, that is not the case, which would mean that Belisarius Prime automatically becomes a third March Cav unit at best. At the very best, he is your third March for Cavalry if you're running 3 Cav marches, which most people are not, which means that he's going to be very hard for people to invest into because you have Nevsky that's better, you have Joan Prime that's better, and you have Hukabing that's better. So you already have 3 better commanders that are better options to invest into than Belisarius Prime, which already brings his viability way down. Now, don't get me wrong, the losing 50 rage per second is good. Losing 100 rage is good. However, there's a chance that this does not even work, because I know Chisco even talked about this. If they have just used their active skill, this does virtually nothing. Now, same thing with the deception effect, where for 5 seconds, the active skills require 200 more rage to use. If they have just used their active skill, this does nothing. So yes, sometimes this will be very good, but other times it will do absolutely nothing to your enemy, which is obviously not good. Now, his second skill. This commander's Cav units gain 30% attack and 20% march speed. This is another reason why I talked about how you don't really care about the mobility tree, because you already have a ton of march speed on this commander. Now, same thing here. Whenever this commander's troop exits combat, the Cav units in their troop gain 60% march speed for 5 seconds. So you can run away from combat very, very quickly. Again, very good for killing farmers, not as good for, being in the open field in a murder ball. Now, his next skill. This commander's Cav units gain 25% defense. Very solid. While this commander's troop is on the map, whenever it launches a basic attack, has a 10% chance to deal direct damage to the target of damage factor 500 with a 5-second cooldown. So it has an instant proc too, which is very, very nice. I like that as well, but not amazing. 500 damage factor, very, very low. Going on to his third skill. this commander's troop takes 10% less skill damage. Very good, I like that. If this commander's troop is attacking another troop on the map, and the target troop has less than 80% units remaining, this commander's troop deals 30% more skill damage. This skill is by far his best skill, in my opinion. I really like this skill. Now, because you're taking 10% less skill damage, which you can also add that skill damage reduction in the mobility tree, which is pretty decent. You can also add that in the cav tree. But the fact that you can do 30% more skill damage to a unit with less than 80% units remaining, which is going to be most units in the open field in a murder ball situation, that is very, very good. So if you pair him with a commander that has AoE, you're going to be doing a ton more skill damage, 30% more skill damage. Like if you paired him with YSG, or if you had an artifact and you paired him with Zeuge, that's phenomenal because you are dealing so much skill damage. That would just be absolutely insane. So this is the only skill that makes me think that he could be viable, but everything else points to, third tier cav commander. Now going on to his expertise. If the current target of this commander's troop is surrounded, increases the target's damage received based on the number of troops surrounding it. 3 troops is 6% more damage, 4 troops is 9% more damage, 5 troops is 12% more damage. So if you are attacking somebody, you have 5 units and you are surrounding them, they're taking 12% more damage. However, this is something that needs to be tested because I have heard from multiple people with VIP support that have said that the 12% damage bonus is only taking into effect with what Belisarius is doing, not all your troops. So the 5 troops that are hitting them, only 1 is getting this 12% more damage bonus. Now that needs to be tested because if the unit is taking 12% more damage from every single unit surrounding it, that is bonkers. That is just so overpowered, and Belisarius is now a must-use commander. However, if it's the way that VIP support is explaining it, that it's only 12% more damage from Belisarius, that is pretty bad. That is not amazing because you're not really getting the full use of the skill of what it really seems to be, doing. But this is the kind of skill that's going to be really good in Ark of Osiris and Osiris League, or for swarming flags, swarming garrison, swarming rallies. Now, obviously not everyone's doing that. Very few people are going to be doing that kind of thing in any circumstance. So this kind of makes him a whale use as well. So I would say that the 2 kind of people that are going to be using Belisarius Prime are going to be people that want to do farm killing and want to be able to move around the map very, very quickly and get in and out of combat quickly and run away quickly. Like obviously farm killers. And second are going to be whales, where people are going to be swarming stuff. Now that is a very small population of Rise of Kingdoms. So I would say the vast majority of people should not be investing into Belisarius Prime unless we see otherwise in testing when he finally comes into game, which should be sometime in May from what I understand. So, in all, I think both these commanders are just very, very underwhelming, which I do think is a good thing. And the reason why I think it's a good thing is because of how the game has been going over the last couple of years, which is totally cav dominant. Like cavs dominate the game. I've seen people that are cav mains complaining like, well, why did infantry get Luce and why did archers get Hermann Prime and we get Belisarius Prime? He sucks. And it's like, okay, well, you just got Joan Prime, you just got Hookah Bing, you just got Nevsky. You have 3 of the best commanders in the game as your last 3 commanders. Like infantry and archers don't have that. And so, I think it's a good thing that Cavalry got a break where people can spend those gold heads they were going to spend on the new meta and save them. Or they can invest into Luce, they can invest into Joan Prime, they can invest into Hermann. These are the commanders you should be investing into right now and taking a break from investing into the brand new commander of Belisarius Prime just because he's not going to be as good. So that is my opinion. If you guys think I'm wrong, or if you guys want to explain why this is a bad thing that Cavs are not getting the new meta, let me know down below in the comments. If you agree with me, let me know as well. Let me know what you guys think about this whole thing. Obviously I am bummed that the new Cavalry are not good because I wanted to replace my William. I wanted to have a different commander to put instead of William, but I enjoy using William. I think he does really, really well for how he is utilized. So personally, I'm happy with my Cav lineup, and now I'm able to invest into Hermann Prime because I have the head to do so, and we no longer have to worry about investing into the new Prime commander. So I can invest into my Hermann and I can expertise him or get him to 5-5-5-1, which is what I've heard is really, really good as well. and still have heads left over for the next infantry, which is probably going to be my plan to then maybe replace my Guan. So, I'm kind of excited that we did not get really, really good calves for that reason, so I can invest into other commanders. And I know a lot of people have said the same exact thing. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys think. Thanks for checking out the video and have a great rest of your day.